Okay, check this out. So finally, what was the big decision
So
saying,
they-
let me pack up and get
well,
to the States? Because I just wanted to ask
yeah.
about the transition between
yeah.
going from Rounds to our system when you came in as Steve Regal.
You know I waffle on a bit, right? So there's always
No.
going back stuff.
No, good. I got the recorder
but
running.
It's I was doing all that stuff. So from 20 till 24, I was never at home. I was literally wrestling in England maybe 2 months of the year, and I was living there, but I was off all the time. The last year I was there, 92, I was in England for 2 months. I was away for 9 months.
What'd your dad think when you hauled off and took off? I mean, was he behind you? You think he's going to fall on your face? Wanted you to get a regular job?
He wanted me to take over his construction business and be a bricklayer, you know, and I just knew from a little kid.
Did you break his heart, or he was cool and supported you?
No, he broke his heart, but he's always supported me.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he's a great fella, and he's always, but I still think to this day, he still thinks I'm going to go back and start up his business again, you know.
Yeah.
So I got like traveling, and I was just non-stop traveling, and I was doing all this stuff. And then 1991, out of the blue, I get a FedEx come to my house from the WWF. I didn't even know what a FedEx van was or a FedEx. I'm sat in my house, and a van pulls up outside. I had a few things in my house that shouldn't have been in there. Let's put it that way, because it was all, you know, just the life and the people I hung around with who were always buying and selling things, and you know, like, and not bad things, just video recorders and stuff, and that was part of just to get through life. That's what I did. And I thought it was the SWAT team come to get me. So I'm panicking. I see a van pull up outside, you know, with writing on that I had no clue what it was. I thought, oh, here we go. Yeah. It's off now, right? Yeah. So I'm
finally caught up to me.
I'm sticking stuff under the couch and everything, like just trying to ram stuff up in the attic. And there's a knock. Oh, here we go. And it was just left this letter on this FedEx from the WWF. Can you come to the Royal Albert Hall?
So you opened it.
Yeah, right. Well, I looked on the back and it said WWF. Oh, all right. So
now, what year was that?
That was 91.
Okay.
So I get this, can you come to the Royal Albert Hall? We'd like to look at you. Where's this come from? This is like a punch in the face, right?
Yeah.
You know, a good punch in the face. Yeah. So I go down there, and I get down there, and I have a match at the Royal Albert Hall. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It was something they put on, it was like a special show for England, and they did a Battle Royal, and Davy Boy won the Battle Royal and that. And then they asked me to go to Wembley the next night, and they talked to me there, and they said, look, and that was in the days when everybody had a character, and they said, look, we like you. It could be several years till we get back in touch, but we will keep in touch, but we like you, and we'll find the right thing for you. Because I was only, this might have been 21, 22 maybe.
Yeah.
I said, great. A couple of weeks later, I get a call. WCW was on like late night TV in England. Can you come and do work for us? This was November of 91. Still to this day, don't know how I got that. I think it was Scott Hall, because I knew Scott from 1989 in Germany. I spent a couple of months with him there. I don't know who suggested me. I still don't know.
How did he do over in England? I mean, over in Germany.
Germany, fantastic.
Yeah. He was always a good worker.
Brilliant. Yeah. He was Texas Scott Hall.
With a big cowboy hat and big mustache.
People loved him. And
good-looking dude.
And he fit right in there, you know, because he knew exactly how to do his stuff and to fit in with everybody. So, I don't know. I've asked him, and he's never admitted, he never said one way or the other. But anyway, so I go, and basically, Giant Haystacks was there, and they wanted to look at him. And I wrestled with Giant Haystacks all the time. Hundreds of times, right? So they wanted me to wrestle him, and then they said, can you stay for the rest of the week because somebody's hurt or something? I still never found out what. So I'm okay, yeah, I'll stay with you. So we did a couple of days in London, and then we did a show in Sheffield, and then we did a show in Dublin. And in that week, I wrestled Terry Taylor, Jimmy.
That had been fun. You guys had
incredible,
great match.
Yeah, and we'd never, you know, because you know what winds me up a lot when people say, oh, well, I've got a different style. I never had any problems working with any of them fellas that from that era of group.
That knew how to work.
Exactly.
Right.
It's nonsense. It's all nonsense. It's people who've never learnt the job properly.
Yeah.
If I turn your arm one way, it goes that way. And if you turn, I go that way. And if you hit me, I sell it that way, right? That's... And so there's anybody who gets that there's a point when, well, he has a difference. It's just people who don't know what they're doing, really.
Right.
And they make excuses for their lack of abilities,
Right.
right? So I had a great week. I worked with Michael Hayes, Terry Garvin, Terry Taylor, Giant Haystacks the one day, and then Oz. I worked with Kevin when he was still Oz.
Yeah, how was that?
Oh, double red rotten.
Yeah.
No, it was okay, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just he was not. He had, you know, he was still trying to find himself at that point, wasn't he? He wasn't sure, and that was a terrible gimmick he was given. But you know,
Yeah.
I remember being in Dublin. Anyway, so they said at the end of the week, "Well, we like you. We want you to come." So I'm thinking, well, whoever gets hold of me first, right? Because I'd seen the writing on the wall by
Right.
then. You saw American shows were on TV in England now. Once you've seen that, you don't want to go back to watching, you know, a little ring with a 100-watt light bulb above it.
Right.
It's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's fun for a while.
Fun for a while.
And all of a sudden you get a taste of, hey.
They see that production and everything. And I wanted to come to America, you know. I mean, I always wanted to come to America. Everybody does, right? Well, most people do. So now it's looking like a natural chance for me to come. So I go about my business the next year, 92. I am absolutely book solid. I worked the first 2 months in England every single night. It was on fire. The TV had been, World of Sport had been taken off TV in 1988, and it went through a few ups and downs.
Why did it get taken off TV?
There was a lot of it to do with the promotion and not making any new stars. That was one thing, but that's not everything. Basically, a fella called Greg Dyke, who now is the head of the BBC, came to ITV, and he decided that wrestling and you know, darts is professional darts is a big thing in England,
yeah.
and snooker, things like that were too working class. He was a fella, you know, Oxford educated or Cambridge educated fella. He wanted to upgrade everything, and thought that the working classes, which is most of Britain that watch TV, because there's such a big class system, he thought he knew better than they did. Right? So first thing he did was move wrestling. In a 2-year spell, he moved wrestling from 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which it was always on, regular spot, 4 o'clock on a Saturday. There used to be a saying in England, everything stopped at 4 o'clock. That's the working classes.
So I was serious about the wrestling. Yeah.
Working classes watch wrestling.
Yeah.
Right? Moved it from 4 o'clock to midday in 1986. Everybody, not everybody, but most factories, everything else, everything worked half day on a Saturday in that period of time till 12:30. That was a work week in England, 5.5 days a week. Within a week of them moving it from 4 o'clock till 12, the figures dropped in half, just for the time spot. And then there was a lot of other things that went in with the, you know, not making any new stars and you know, all kinds of stuff, production values and whatever else.
Yeah.
But within 2 years of watching the figures drop off, you've got perfect excuse to just take it off, right?
Right.
When it was took off, it was still getting 4-point-something million.
Yeah, Jesus.
It was still getting, people would die for that now, right? 4-point-something million. You know, main shows on a Saturday night don't get that. And that was when they took it off.
So then what happened to the wrestling scene there in England if they didn't have a TV?
It went underground for a while. A lot of people had to get jobs, you know. Brian Dixon, who was what we used to call the opposition promoter, he sort of came into his own then. Dale Martins, who ran the TV, sort of went away to a big degree. Brian Dixon kept running shows and he had all the best talent that was there and just kept running and running. Right. And everything was posters and word of mouth anyway. Right. Regular buildings, through the winter. You did, most places you did every month or every 2 weeks. And kept it going. And so it fluctuated a bit. But by 92, 91, 92, everything was on fire again. No TV, and all the buildings were doing incredibly well. Now, they're only small buildings, right? You know, between three and 5,000 people. But I was in the beginning of 92, it was Dave Taylor against Fit Finlay chasing for the British Championship, chasing each other on one tour. Mm-hmm. Ryan had 2 shows a night, and then the other show was Kendo Nagasaki in a tag match with whoever he was and whoever else was fitting in there. So you'd be going between the two. I was at that time. There was remember Evad Sullivan, Dave Sullivan.
Yeah.
Right. Well, he was over. He'd been in Germany, and he came to England. And I was on a few shows with it. Like, so we were just sort of moving around between the two tours and just busy all the time. Or I'd be some nights I'd be on in the Nagasaki tags, me and whoever, and Pat Roach and against them too, and whoever. Like, always working. And then March the 1st of that year, I went to India for a month, and then I went to Germany for about 10 days, and I went to South Africa, then I went to Egypt. And luckily, I hadn't got any work booked for Germany. Was very, very hard to get in. It was a very close,
clicky.
Everybody clicky. Everybody wanted the spot there. Now I'd had bits of it here, there, and everywhere. And I get a call. I'm just sat at home. I've got the summer. I've got it booked up in England and stuff, but I hadn't got a lot else. And I know I had plenty of work coming up in September. I was going to go all kinds of places, I forget. But I get a call from Otto Vance. Can you start in Graz next week? Or in 3 days, I think, at the start of his tour for the rest of the year. Yeah, well, Steve Wright, Alex Wright's dad, he was fixing an aerial on his roof and fell off and broke his leg or so. Done something.
He was a wrestler?
Yeah.
Okay.
He was like he was
so Alex, second generation?
Yeah, so he was a big star, his dad. He was one of their mainstays.
Wow, interesting, I didn't know that.
For 20-odd years, yeah. Or you want to watch, there's a match of his dad, you want to talk about technical wrestlers, his dad against Tiger Mask from Japan. Steve Wright.
Steve Wright
versus
Tiger
Mask. Eats Tiger Mask's lunch.
Really?
For 20 minutes. Gives him nothing, not a drink of water.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And he just used, that's what he used to be like with everybody. It was like ride of your life trying to wrestle.
Right.
He was so fit and so in incredible condition. If you look at him, you'd think, this fella, he don't look like nothing.
Oh, I'm going to check it out.
People would be scared to death of him.
Really?
He would just,
how big a fella was he?
Not a big fella at all.
But just was a buzzsaw.
A machine.
Right.
Just blow you up and drag you about and you wouldn't know what was happening.
Straight up.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so he gets in, can you come? Yeah. So I ended up staying there through the rest of the year. September, Rip Rogers is on the tour.
Yeah.
Rip Rogers came in to my trailer one day and said, are you still in touch with WCW? This is 92 September. I said, well, the old way, I don't know if this was like when you were starting, but the way we used to get booked everywhere, wherever you went, this was one of them tricks, wherever you went, you just send a postcard from Durban, South Africa. Hello, this is Steve Regal, just telling you I'm working here, and send it to all the promoters you knew, because it made you sound like you were in demand, which you were.
Yeah.
Well, he said, you still in touch with WCW? I said, and this is funny because WWE, I had a letter off them every 2 months, came to my house in Blackpool, set with a printed letter. We've got you on file whenever there's something comes. I was still getting those letters a year after I came to America.
Who was sending those letters?
Somebody in the office, I don't know.
But they was maintaining touch.
Yes.
Okay.
Never heard anything off WCW because you know how unorganised that was, right?
Yeah.
So, but Rip Rogers said to me, have you got nice handwriting? And I went, well, yeah, it's the one thing I ever did at school. I got nothing else but I can write. My knuckles tell the tales of that because nuns used to batter us over the hands with like a cane force you to write.
So you get pretty handwriting.
That's the only thing I've got, right, is good handwriting. So he said, Bill Watts has just took over WCW. He said, and I've worked for him, and he said he'd like you, but he's very particular about certain things. He said, because about every couple of months I would send out like a printed resume, and whatever, just another 8, because you never sent videos in them days. It was 8 by 10s, just a picture of you.
Yeah, that was all.
Yeah, that was it. 8 by 10, and your resume, and I've worked here, there, and you can call this fella for a reference. Or this fella. That was the way it was. So he said, this may sound strange, but if I dictate it to you, can you write it? He said, because he likes to hear certain words. I went, yeah, of course I can, yeah. So there's all these sayings like, I train diligently and this and that, this and that.
Yeah.
So I wrote this letter, I sent it, and used to have to, it was about an 1/8 of a mile walk from my caravan to the phone box to call home every day.
Yeah.
So obviously that was the way it was, a handful of coins and call back to the wife. I go and call. About 5 days later, I call home one day. She said, can you call this number straight away? I sent this letter off that Ripper told me about. Can you call this number? Bill Watts wants to talk to you straight away. So I get straight away put through from his secretary to him. I'm like in the phone box. Honestly, my hands was going in and out like a fiddler's elbow trying to put these coins in this thing like that. Couldn't get enough coins in, like just eating them up, calling them.
Don't hang up on me now.
Yeah, calling from America, right. Big pocket full of change. And he said, I'd like you to come and work for me. Can you come like now? And I said, I'm sorry, I can't. I said, I'm here till Christmas. He went silent for a while. And he went, have you got a contract? I said, no, but I've given me word that I'm going to be here till Christmas. And he went, and another long silence. I thought, well, that's me screwed, but, that's the way I am. That's the way I do business. He went, you've definitely got the job now. Most people would have just quit to come here, he said, and I like that in somebody. He said that you didn't quit, and you give your word. He said, that's sealed the deal. When can you, he said, I'll get you here. He said, when you've finished there, I said, well, 2 days before Christmas. He said, well, I'll get you here for the 1st of January.
That's awesome.
Then it was just a matter of my wife at home having to find that much, because I was in Germany, finding that much stuff to get visas and stuff on all these programs. Everything that I'd ever done for the last 10 years, she had to find proof of that I was a wrestler, to get these. It's easy, a lot easier for them to get visas now. And she was sending stuff. And by the time I went, I got here, it's not that easy to get visas. I landed on the 23rd of January, and then the first day I met you was the 25th of January, 1993.